Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, I wanted to hop on here and tell you guys about this house I lived in my final year away for school in Ottawa. I lived in this house with like a bunch of my boys, and at the time, my school was on strike. Like, all the colleges across Canada were on strike. So, we already partied a lot in this house, but school being canceled, I mean, we took it up a notch. We went pretty crazy. So, it was a pretty funny time period. Now, we lived in this like government housing neighborhood. Living in this place was like pretty funny. The neighborhood was jokes. There was a lot of characters. And we had this 3-story townhome, I guess they called it, but it felt like an apartment because it was connected by a hallway and there was like a bunch of other people there, right? Like neighbors. Speaking of neighbors, I mean, my next door neighbor was actually insane. He wore only pajamas. The only time I ever saw him was like smoking out back. I tried to speak to him multiple. Actually, I saw him in the hallway one time with groceries, and I remember he was like at his door. I was gonna go speak to him, and he just scurried inside like really quick. So I was like, whatever. And I had lived there for like a while at this point, right? And I finally see him out back. He's having a smoke, as am I. And I'm just like looking through this piece of shit wood fence, and I can see him. So I kind of snuck around the corner to catch him off guard, and he like visibly jumped. I mean, I actually scared him, and then he just ran inside as fast as possible, just through the sliding door, shut it, dipped. So I was like, whatever, fuck it, forget you then. No, I was like, I don't give a shit. I mean, this guy has never said anything to me. He's never complained about noise. If he doesn't want to talk, why do I care? So I left him alone after that. He was cool. My other neighbors across the hall, they were just like an older couple in their 70s or 80s. No joke. All they did was sit in their apartment in like two separate lazy boy chairs or whatever with TV dinner trays with laptops, play WoW, and smoke darts. These guys ripped so much World of Warcraft. I never saw them like outside of their apartment. I never spoke to them. They just had no blinds on like their back door. So when I would be coming home, I could see in, I could see what they were doing. They made our whole hallway reek of darts. There was this guy in the neighborhood. He was actually like the plug for a minute. Me and my boys would buy off him before I tried to get into the game, but we'll get into that. Anyways, I'd go buy off him and shit like that. And one time I made this guy so pissed because I thought it would be hilarious. I thought it was jokes if when I went to go buy off him, because he would always take e-transfer, if I made the question like, what is this for? And then I said something stupid like kush or gas or some bullshit like that, right? Well, he didn't find it that funny. I thought it was hilarious. And he came out and he's like, "What the fuck would you do this for?" And I was like, "Yo, chill, chill." I thought it was funny. He's like, "Wow, the fuck is that funny?" So I was like, "Oh shit." So I kind of pissed that guy off a lot, but luckily he didn't stay too mad for too long because we were valuable customers. So this house was like 3 stories, like I mentioned. The top floor was just our bedrooms. The basement is where all our time and effort went. Like anything cool we had, it was down there. That's where we spent all our time. It was pretty decked out. The middle floor, barren. Not one thing, no furniture in the dining room or living room, never was, just a router on the hardwood. There was no blinds on like the back windows. If you looked in here, you would assume nobody lives here. It might be abandoned. Even our kitchen on that same floor, no food in the kitchen, like nothing, no groceries, just a fridge full of beer. All our time was downstairs. So in this basement, we had like a big U couch with a big TV, Xbox, PlayStation, big speakers. It was pretty sweet. A mini fridge right there, stocked again with beer and booze, shit like that. We had a huge ping pong table. Well, I mean, standard traditional ping pong table size. But it had samurai swords, paintball guns, weed all over it, weed paraphernalia, darts, all that shit, bongs, and then washer dryer with like the tiniest little sliding window that 24/7 stayed open to air this bitch out and so people could like blow bong rips out the window. And then my buddy, he had a whole PC set up in the corner. It was like decked out because he made a lot of beats. He'd always be ripping that shit. He had a keyboard, a guitar, and like some like electric drum or something. I don't even know what it was, but he was always making beats. So the basement, oh, and posters literally wrapping the walls, just like all old hip hop, funny comedy movie posters, just, typical cool dude shit. There was a time in this house where I was kind of like, yo, everybody would like come over and joke around that it was a trap house and it was like ghetto as fuck and all this funny shit, right? And I was like, all right, well, I mean, we could use a little cash flow in this bitch. And everybody's saying it's a trap house anyways. We constantly have people coming over here who are smoking weed. So I was like, I should just start chopping all these people. I mean, I was already selling them shit, but they would come over and be like, yo, can I buy like a gram off you for tonight? And I'd be like, all right, sure, I don't care. But I was like, I should just keep a surplus of this shit, chop people who come through, and like anybody else I know who wants it, right? I thought it was genius. I was like, what have I been doing? So I started the process of like, also, I want to just highlight this again. During this entire period, I was doing a policing course. I mean, I was an idiot. Anyways, I started setting myself up, like went to a weed shop, bought this big scale, a fuckload of baggies. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's so evident what I'm trying to do. But anyways, after this, I hit up my plug at the time, the guy pissed off. I was trying to start my business, so I bought like I think 2 ounces off him or some shit like that. And I hit everybody up I knew who like smoked weed, being like, yo, there's the new guy in town, the big dog's here. Like if you need, hit me up, all that shit. And I waited around. I figured it wouldn't be long. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong because nobody ever hit me up. I mean, nobody even responded to those texts. That was the dumbest shit I ever tried to do. So I was like, okay, no big deal. I'll get my start by just like chopping people, friends who come through, all that type of shit, right? Well, they would come through, and I don't know what magically happened. I guess they probably got my text and figured, like, I don't want to buy off this guy. I don't know why, because everybody started showing up with their own weed. Like, I wasn't serving anybody. And then when people came around who, like, didn't have their own shit, or, like, my close roommate friends group or whatever didn't have any, I was, like, being way too nice and just giving it to them. I was like, what? I mean, how many times had they done the same to me? So I was returning the favor, But throughout those like 2 ounces that stuck around forever, I think I sold maybe max 7 grams. Everything else I either smoked or gave away. So it was a humongous waste of money. And the only time I can ever remember like trying to deliver weed, I was going over to this skate like park or whatever near my school because I would go there sometimes, but also everybody who was there was from the college or like surrounding neighborhood. They were all old. There was like, once in a while a little kid would be there, but 99% of the skate park was older than me at the time. So I would go there and sometimes somebody there would like maybe buy off me. And this day that was happening. So I was skating over to the skate shop to serve a dude like 2 grams. Well, I fucking ate it. I ate it on my board so fucking hard, banged myself up. I mean, was kind of dazed, was like not just like jumping back up out of this one, was kind of sitting there on the ground, just like holding everything, bleeding. And I was like, fuck. My drug dealing career, I mean, it was a fucking disaster. I showed up to serve this guy whatever he bought, and it was just like so awkward. He was like, what the fuck happened to you? Everybody there was like, dude, are you good? I mean, I was like bleeding from my shin and my elbow and my neck. I hit my head, so I was like probably talking slower. It was a disaster. It was horrible. So that didn't work out. Even my only delivery was a fucking fail. So I gave up after that. My little trap lord endeavor didn't really pan out. But I just went back to old reliable, partying, having people over and just having bangers. I mean, that's all we fucking did. I remember this one specific time we had like people over to like from our hometown originally on the Thursday night, and it kind of turned into a party where we started hitting other people up from Ottawa to reach, and it kind of just went into the next day. So all Friday, we just partied all fucking day. And then like more and more people were like coming through. At this point, we just kind of like knew everybody, and it was just this massive party. I went out like for a good portion of the afternoon while a few of like my roommates stayed there. And when I came home after like hours of being out, it had like doubled. I was like, oh, this is still going on, and there's way more people here. So I just like joined back in. This night, on Friday night, I literally went to bed. We had gone out to the bars. Some people did. Like, it was big enough where, like, we did our own individual things. Some people stayed partying at the house on Friday. Some of us went to the bar. I went to the bar. I came home. I passed out. When I woke up on Saturday, I think it is. I can't remember what fucking day I was on. Anyways, when I woke up on either Saturday or Sunday, people were, like, moving slow. The party had died down. A lot of people had left. But it was still, like, going on. People had passed out and woken up and all this shit. And then a few of us hung around and like smoked weed that day. Nobody really got hammered, and it ended. But it was pretty much just like 3 days of a constant party, and not one neighbor said a thing. And we have shared walls. Like, they didn't give a fuck. Nobody in this place did. And when I moved in, I was way too lazy to set up the whole like rent payment thing online and like make a profile. So I used to just like walk over to the head office of this like neighborhood because they were like government housing apartments. So there was a head office in the front attached to a massive normal apartment building. And I would go in there and just like manually pay rent. So I just bring in like cards. But my credit card, like at the time, I was going in there to pay on behalf of me and two other roommates. So my credit card could like not tap that much rent. Like obviously it didn't have that limit. So I'd have to bring like a few cards to do it in segments, and I would always like be bringing either one my card or one of my roommates or both of their cards and doing it for them or whatever it was. And the lady in there was literally like, "What do you do?" She was like getting so suspicious of me because also she was like, "Oh, do you like have a job or whatever?" And I was like, "No, no, not right now. I'm just in school." And she's like, "Oh, what school?" And I like told her the name. And then she was like, "Aren't the colleges on strike? Like have been for a while?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she's like, "You don't do anything?" I was like, "No, not really right now." And then I would come and pay with like three cards and they'd be changing every week. It was so fucked. She definitely thought I was just like up to no good, just, nefarious activities, but I thought that was hilarious. I kind of did it as a bit, honestly. I had the master bedroom in the house because, like I said, I was going to pay the rent. I went there every week. I found the house. I signed all the shit. I set up like hydro and internet, all that stuff, right? So, since I did all that, I just took the master. Now, this room was actually massive. And one of my other roommates who paid the least amount of money, I swear to God, it was considered a third bedroom, but it was a closet. It was the smallest thing I've ever seen. That's why his entire PC setup was in the basement. I mean, the only thing that could fit in there was a single bed and a laundry hamper or whatever you fucking call it. That was all he had. So I lived in the master and I barely had anything to fill this with. I mean, I had a tiny little like twin bed pressed against the window. I had one single plastic like filing cabinet thing and then a massive white foldable table that I had my whole PC and Xbox set up at. Now, since my bed was like pressed against the window there, this whole house was baseboard heating, and I had never had any exposure to baseboard heating. Also, I have post nasal drip or whatever it is, like just fucked up sinuses. So I slept beside this baseboard heating in the Ottawa winter, which is very cold. So they were cranked. Turns out it makes your room horrifically dry. And then plus just like everything else we were like doing, like smoking all the fucking time. So my throat got destroyed. And I was waking up in the morning. Now, this is going to be, warning, it's a little gross. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd cough a lot and there would be blood. I was like spitting blood. I would cough blood and I was freaking out. I mean, for like a good week, I was just internally convinced I was dying, not sharing it with anyone, in a really sad, bad mood, and was terrified. It was so fucking stupid. And then I finally mustered up the strength to be like, I just gotta go figure this out. One time I literally like went upstairs after I was downstairs with my friends. I'd kind of forgotten about the whole blood thing and I was drinking and smoking. And then I went upstairs to like freshen up for the bar and I fucking spat in the sink or something and a ton of blood came out. Like I think the most that had ever happened. And I melted down. I didn't even tell them what was up. I was like, yo, I don't want to go to the bar anymore, blah, blah, blah. I canceled, went up to my room. I took my roommate's keys and I drove to the hospital and I sat outside the emergency room. Now, I know that's like a sad story, but trust me, listen. So I didn't go in and I went home and just continued to be extremely sad for a while, but finally mustered up the strength to go to the walk-in, pardon me, and just like get an assessment. And the dude looked at my throat for about 1 millisecond and was like, yo, your throat is like, basically it's like eczema on your throat. Your throat is very, very, very dry and you're smoking. And then I told him about the baseboard heating and he's like, that's the culprit. That's what's doing this. So I had the like biggest panic attack of my life, convinced I was dying, but it was just I was just sleeping beside baseboard heating. I also had this like roller chair that I would whip around in, but it was all hardwood, so I scratched the fuck out of this floor. Also, it was so loud, it would like echo through the house because again, we had no furniture. Any slight movement was just echoing through this house. But I played so much PUBG in that room. It was crazy. I would hotbox that room all the time. I'd just be like ripping joints in there. Also, I had a massive window and I never had any curtains. I know that's fucking insane, but my PC setup was like slightly tucked away in the corner so you couldn't see me when I was at my computer, and that's all I cared about. But when I slept, I mean, I was going to bed when it was fucking dark, and also there was nobody like directly behind me. It was the woods, but slightly on like a higher level street, there was a few apartments that could see directly into my room. So unfortunately, those people, they saw some things. I mean, I can't believe it. I had girls in that room that I would hook up with. Not one of them protested the fact that you could see into my room. There was also like a street light from that higher up road that would kind of illuminate my window area. So you were fully visible in my bed. I'm sorry. I mean, multiple people must have seen me fucking cranking it, at some point throughout this year. Now, remember how I said the middle floor was completely barren and it was like hardwood? Well, everybody would leave the basement to go through the middle room and then across to the back sliding door. So there was like a walkway that was being imprinted on this hardwood. So many people were always there and going out for smokes and weed and shit. I mean, the hardwood was being like worn away and you could see it was like lighter colored. It was like white and scraped up a bit in a direct line to the sliding door. We traveled this so much. And back there, we just had like the biggest piece of shit chairs, a horrible, tiny, tiny little like portable grill that took a tiny little thing of propane that we used maybe once, and then just a gazillion old beer bottles filled up with like roaches and darts. It was so greasy. One time we were back there, like I think the one time we were grilling, we were making burgers and shit, and one of my friends had applied to like this window washing company for a job, and the place was so greasy and like just under the table that the dude like just walked over to our house. I guess he was doing a building in the area. He just pulled up into the backyard. We were all out back grilling, having darts. I was literally dual wielding Old English at the time. I had two 40s. I was just dual wielding them while my buddy grilled and my other friend just sat there chilling. And it was like he pulled up around the corner and was like, "Yo, are you Mitch?" And just started talking to my buddy, and they had the whole interview right there. I mean, the interview was like 5 minutes. It was like, "Hey, are you on drugs? No. Can you start tomorrow? Yes, you're hired." That was it. But it just happened like so quick and out of nowhere, and I was just standing there kind of stunned, just holding two 40s. It was so fucking greasy. And when we left there, I thought we were so fucked. I mean, I was like, yo, we're not getting our deposit back. The house is kind of banged up. I mean, there was some damage to it. I was pretty concerned about it, I was concerned that they were going to be pissed or like charge us a lot of money. Well, when they came in to do the whole like move out inspection, they were like, yo, this is like one of the best conditions ones that we've seen. Like, this is good. You're going to get your deposit back. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what are people doing to these houses? And to my knowledge, we were the only people partying in there. Everybody else was like much older, living there permanently. So I was like, what are they doing to their homes? Anyways, that year was just kind of funny to me. I mean, I'm sure there's stories throughout this year that I missed in this video. I'll do separate videos on because I was just up to pretty much nothing but partying for an entire year while my school was on strike and I lived in this house. So, anyways, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Peace.